The 8th of March was a typical day during this latest Palestinian uprising. There were 3 attacks in the space of 2 hours. First in Jerusalem, Palestinian attackers shot 2 Israeli policemen in a main street. Then in the Israeli town of Petah Tikva, the victim turned the tables, stabbing the attacker with his own knife. Then in the seaside town of Jaffa, a young Palestinian ran along the beachfront, stabbing everyone he came across. He killed an American student and injured 10 more people before he was shot. The unusual thing was that US Vice President Joe Biden was in Israel, in fact in Jaffa, when the attack there took place.
My wife and my 2 grandchildren and granddaughter were having dinner on the beach, not very far from where that happened. It brings home that it can happen anywhere at any time.
Ishai Montgomery was busking here on the Jaffa beachfront that night. He heard screams and looked up to see a man running towards him with a knife.
As soon as I realized what's happening, I was already up next for getting stabbed. I mean, he was a 22-year-old guy, amped up on adrenaline, and really, like, it was scary. I mean, it was a big knife, and he was cutting up people, like, on the beach there. It was not somebody you want anywhere close to you.
Ishai used the only weapon he had, his guitar, and managed to avoid injury.
I hit him right on the head. Like, it was pure survival instinct. I didn't want anything to do with that knife. I didn't want him anywhere near me and didn't want to get hurt.
The Jaffa attacker, Bashar Masalha, came from this West Bank village, the first from here during the current wave of violence. Now his picture adorns the village. And there are long queues at the Israeli military checkpoint to get in and out. His family say they're in shock.
He was working, he made money, he was living a good life. Why would he decide to do this? There must have been someone playing with his mind.
Bashar's family say there was one big change. Late last year he became religious. In March he returned from a pilgrimage to Mecca. The next day he carried out the Jaffa attack. Israeli troops raided his village the next night, arresting his father and brothers.
They detained 2 of his brothers, who are lawyers, and 2 others who were working. They also detained them. What did they have to do with it? When a man goes to carry out an operation, he doesn't tell his father or mother or his brothers.
It's not over for the Masalha family. This order says Israeli authorities plan to demolish their house. The attacks have been going on for 6 months now. It's not precisely an intifada, since it's not organised. Instead, it's lone wolf attacks, often using knives or even scissors. They're carried out by young Palestinians. Most are in their teens, and most are killed on the spot. The West Bank town of Hebron has been a focus. Youth activist Issa Amro explains the attackers' motives.
They say that we have nothing to lose. We don't have a life, we are desperate, we have no hope for the future. Look to the economy, look to the unemployment. We have nothing. Our life is not a life with the presence of the occupation. We want to go to sacrifice. Maybe we change something.
Amro does non-violence training on the ground and on the web. Even Facebook chats trying to prevent attacks.
I have one of the messages. Someone said that she's a woman, she wants to kill herself for Palestine and how she can do it, and we talked a lot and we tried to convince her not to do it and stop thinking like that.
Hebron's the only Palestinian town with Israelis living inside it, the two populations separated by Israeli troops. To protect some 600 Jewish settlers, whole streets are closed to Palestinians. They need ID to enter and exit their own neighbourhoods. It's at these checkpoints that many of the stabbings take place.
My boy is 10 years old and he's already seen 4 or 5 people killed in this area.
Mufid Sharabati lives above a Hebron checkpoint and beneath 2 more. There have been 15 attacks around his home. All the attackers were killed. A few weeks ago, Mufid's wife saw an agitated teenage girl near their front door and dragged her inside.
She was carrying a knife. This usually means you want to stab someone. Whoever enters this area with a knife will be killed. She told me she saw footage on TV and on Facebook and heard about Palestinian children being killed, tortured, and detained, and that's why she was here. It's because of the situation we live in.
There's high unemployment here, military curfews, and decades of conflict with the Jewish settlers. And it seems there's nothing on the horizon to bring change. The main road linking Hebron to Jerusalem is another focus of attacks. There have been 20 at this junction alone. Israel has beefed up its military presence here with new monitoring equipment and surveillance towers and more soldiers.
A car stops in the middle of this junction. What's your reaction?
I'm immediately suspicious. I come closer and report in. Then I call the other stations and take another group with me.
Of course, in case he pulls out a knife, it's important to keep your eyes on his hands. You can also ask him to lift his hands so you can see them.
The Etzion junction is used by both Palestinians and Jewish settlers, and it's a major public transport hub.
I always pass here. I was here 5 minutes before an attack, 5 minutes after one. I feel a bit sad, a bit strange that this is the reality, but it doesn't mean we can't be here. In fact, it's the opposite. We have to be here.
If anyone ever doesn't feel safe or anything, we're standing here in the junctions, we put our numbers up any time of the day. We come out, we look after, we protect. That's our mission.
Lieutenant Shane Lipman is in charge this morning. He concedes that most attackers here have been killed, but denies allegations that Israel operates a shoot-to-kill policy.
Not shoot-to-kill. We never ever told soldiers shoot-to-kill. If I can neutralize a terrorist without killing him, that's exactly what I'll do. If the terrorist is in close contact already from the act of terror, I teach my soldiers not to think twice.
There are 2 new cases where Israel's investigating whether Palestinian attackers were killed after they were lying on the ground wounded. One's an IDF soldier in Hebron. The shooting was captured on video by Palestinians. The other was the Jaffa attacker, Bashar Masalha. This video was recorded on an Israeli cell phone. It suggests that a volunteer policeman killed Masalha after he'd already been wounded. Videos play a large role in this uprising. Real ones like these, and also these. Propaganda videos showing how to stab, which go viral.
A lot of young people in Gaza are the one behind those campaigns, but since they cannot go freely outside and do whatever they want to do, then their ideas are running free on social media.
Israeli social media expert Orit Perlov monitors the viral campaigns.
This is from, the run over. You see, it's very for kids, with PlayStation and stuff like that. The kids are younger than 18 and they don't have cars, so it's becoming ineffective. So that's why they moved into the Tan campaign with the knives, because everybody in the kitchen has a knife.
Israel regards Palestinian media as another source of incitement. Last month, Israeli troops raided and shut down the Ramallah office of Palestine Today, the TV station of the Islamic Jihad militant group.
This is our office. There's been an order from the occupation army to close the office of Palestine today. The door is not locked, but as you can see, we can't go in.
The Palestine Today team meet outside their office. They justify their reports.
We document all incidents taking place in the West Bank. To the occupation army, documenting incidents and publishing the truth about their crimes is incitement.
The village of Sair near Hebron. There were 12 attackers from here in the space of 3 months and 12 funerals. Now they're trying a new approach. The mayor's targeting local youth, and none of the martyr posters can be seen on the village walls.
We try to show the youth the dangers of Israeli checkpoints at all the entrances to our town and how to avoid all the problems which could drive them to be killed.
This morning, Mayor Kayed Jaradat visits a school in Sair, where everyone knows someone who's died.
From here, I want you to build yourself for a new future. We don't want just to throw our lives away for nothing on this journey.
I'm the brother of Ahmed Yunus. My brother was about to graduate from high school when a friend of his, Mahmoud, was murdered. His death affected him deeply. My brother was then killed in cold blood.
I'm trying to avoid emotional speeches that drive young people to carry out attacks. What I need from you is to work hard in your studies, so you can be a doctor or an engineer, because we're devoted to life.
These pupils are the same age as those carrying out the stabbings. And over the past 3 months, there have been no further attacks from this village. Older Palestinians who remember the deadly Second Intifada do not support this uprising. But for it to end, national leaders on both sides have to tackle the problems causing the violence.